When you think about COD Zombies, there's a lot that adds up to a good Zombies games. The maps, the characters, the gameplay, the story, the mechanics. All of these things are crucial elements to building a good Zombies games. But what I want to talk about is the minute details that all add up to just make something special. A lot of things can seem minute and not important, but when you have all of these small things combined together, it really just makes something that much better. These can be things from perks, characters, even a main menu can just add that tiny little touch of making a game feel cozy, interesting, scarier. The first thing I want to talk about is probably the strangest one, but it's the main menu. The main menu is the presentation of the game. It should be getting you into the mood, it should be easy to navigate, and it definitely shouldn't be cluttered with things like daily challenges and battle passes and skins and all that stuff. A main menu that gets it done pretty well is the Black Ops 3 main menu. It's got a unique location, it's easy to understand. It conveys a feeling and a mood of being alone in a zombies map and not having anyone to help you and you're just trying to survive. That is what is being conveyed by them sitting at the campfire alone by themselves just trying to get by. And just a small tidbit here, everybody knows the music in Zombies is always the best. Even in Vanguard, it has good music. So, the one thing I will say to the music team, don't change. They always somehow nail it. While the Black Ops 3 main menu has a lot going for it, I think that Infinite Warfare might just have a better main menu because of all of the detail in it. It has a lot going for it. When you start Zombies, you're facing the theater, which is where everything's taking place, so you're already getting bits of story, which I love. When you go to start a game, you end up in the theater, in one of the viewing rooms, and on the screen is the candies walking, and in the background of the candies walking, it swaps between the different maps. I really like this because it shows off a bit of the theme of each map before playing it. There's also the barracks. Whenever you go to customize your calling cards and things like that, it takes you into the Pack-a-Punch room, which is just the projector room of the theater. What I really like about this is that I've only recently been playing Infinite Warfare. I got it for sale, and so I decided to try it out. I've beaten 2 Easter eggs, and because I've beaten 2 Easter eggs, when I go into the barracks to look at the projector room, I can see both my little completion symbols behind the weird vase thing that's used for the super Easter egg. Another feature of the barracks that I really like is the music list, because it lets you unlock an Easter egg song in-game and then listen to it in the main menu whenever you want. The rest of the menu is just as great. When choosing a map, you get a look at all the posters for whatever map you're gonna play. When going to your loadout, you go to the snack stand. You can customize your guns at the snack stand, and then you can also do your Fate of Fortune cards at an actual Fate of Fortune card machine right next to the snack stand. Infinite Warfare has such a great main menu. Now, I'm gonna leave Infinite Warfare here for a second and move on to Cold War, but we'll be back for some gameplay stuff later. Now in Cold War, the main menu changed over time. In the beginning, it was just your character sitting in a plane, getting ready to deploy on a mission, which I loved it. The atmospheres felt great, the shaky airplane made it suspenseful. It just really seemed like you were about to get into a mission and you were preparing for it. What I hate though is they started doing what multiplayer did, and it was just your character walking down an endless hallway. They had their own little spin on it where sometimes there'd be an Orda in the back or some special zombie floating around. And while that's neat and stuff, I really don't like just the endless walking. Something about it just doesn't feel like a zombies menu. Getting ready to prepare to drop into a zombie infested area should be scary. You're on a plane. It's shaky. You're checking out your weapon to make sure it's working right. This walking in an endless cycle just seems too much multiplayer-esque for me. Let's move away now from main menus and into things like characters and perks. Characters is pretty obvious, so I'm not going to dwell on it for too long. We need a set crew that we can connect to. I don't want some Infinite Warfare style characters that have wacky, quirky voice lines that half the time aren't funny, and you don't ever learn anything about the characters. We need a set crew that talk to each other, that talk to themselves, and most importantly, have voice lines that make you laugh. One more thing I think they should do with the characters is something they started in BO4 and then kind of moved on with in Cold War and Vanguard. Give me something to do to change my character. And I don't mean the crappy kill 100 zombies, unlock a green jacket instead of the usual blue jacket. I want an actual change in what I'm wearing. It doesn't have to be a big, oh, you've got a top hat now, and you're in a tuxedo, and you've got these disco pants. Just something to change the character and put them in a different outfit. Maybe make it respective to what they are. Let's say if we were still playing as Dempsey, Richtofen, Takeo, Nikolai, you had things like, for Richtofen, you could put on a doctor's gown. For Dempsey, you could put on a general's cap. For Takeo, you could wear, like, samurai armor. Just stuff that fits the character and changes it. And it's probably inevitable, but I do not mean bundles. I hate bundles with a passion. It takes out all gameplay progression in the more recent CODs. What sounds more interesting to you? Spending 20 bucks so that for some reason Samantha Maxis can be wearing a wedding dress? Or beating an Easter egg and unlocking a new outfit for the character you beat it as? I'm gonna tell you this right now. If you're charging $70 for a COD game, when that is probably a sixth of the money you're gonna be making off of it because you're charging 20, 25 bucks per bundle and you're selling hundreds of bundles a day, you are the worst company in the world. Do not corrupt zombies with this money scheme. I just want to play the game, get rewarded for playing, and have fun. The last thing I want out of my characters is uniqueness. Infinite Warfare, once again, does this great. In most maps, each character has their own unique melee, which I love. I've always said as a kid, when I was on the playground talking to friends, I was like, oh, what if in Origins, in the intro cutscene, because they've all using different melees, Tank Dempsey has his knife, Takeo has his sword, Nikolai has the throwing axe, Richtofen has the saw. It would be so cool if you could use those weapons in-game, and it was dependent on which character you were that you got that melee. There's also the added fact that when you use a Fate of Fortune cards in most maps, each character has their own unique animation for using a card. I love that stuff. It makes each character feel unique in its own way. Next is perks. Black Ops always does the perks perfectly. They always have great songs, they always have great aesthetics, they're all unique in their own way, and we definitely do not need what Vanguard does, where each one is just a reskinned statue with a different color. Infinite Warfare isn't much better. Sure, they're kind of different. It's really only one or two minor changes other than the fact that it's a color change per perk machine. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is the atmosphere of maps. I think maps in general for zombies should be set in an evening or a nighttime setting. Daytime can work in some maps, but most of the times it just kind of makes everything feel too bright and in your face. Now, I'm not saying every map needs to be pitch black and you can't see a thing. I do think night suits zombies well, though. Think about some of the best maps. Origins, Horizon Draft, Shadows of Evil, Zombies in Spaceland. Hell, all of Black Ops 3 is mostly at nighttime. Even Goa Covey is set kind of in the evening to only give it a bit of a lighting. And even those maps that are bright, open, and you can see the sun, have those darkish, covered areas. IX from BO4, half the map is underground where it's dimly lit. Buried is underground with only cracks of light seeping in. Die Rise is mostly covered by the tower and the multiple levels of floors that you're in. Bright maps can work, because Die Maschine from Cold War is a wonderful map. I love it. But I will say, the trailer came out and it was nighttime at the start of the trailer. We never got that nighttime mode. And oh my god, a nighttime mode would just add to the atmosphere of the scariness so much. I wish they had added that. This might be obvious, but I also think the maps need to have a strong color palette. Cold War kind of did this with Die Maschine having a bit of a whiteness with the snow and green with the moss and the grass and the swamp area. Firebase Z was very obviously an orange theme map, but Malware der Toten and Forsaken were just kind of dark areas. But when you look at Black Ops 3, Shadows of Evil is very bright yellow, red, green, blue due to the neon signs. Horizon Jack has a very strong blue vibe from the snow, from the tower, from the moon. Goa Covey is very obviously orange. Zetsubo no Shima is green. Revelations has a very strong red and blue clash. Even Infinite Warfare does great with this, with the whole Rave in the Redwoods being dark, but you get blasts of color in rave mode. Zombies in Spaceland is bright because it's an amusement park. Now let's move over and look at Vanguard, where there is almost no color whatsoever. The maps are incredibly dark and you can't see a thing. The flash from the gun literally blinds your entire screen. And not to mention, two of the maps are the same map just with 2 different color palettes, which either one you can swap in and out and it looks still disgusting. This is part of the reason I never really cared about Warzone and Modern Warfare and the newer CODs, because the engine itself just doesn't work well with color. Black Ops 3, Black Ops 2 even, Infinite Warfare. These are colorful maps that I enjoy. I don't want to look at a map and it's got all this color in it, but because of the engine, it just makes it a washed over gray. I'm not going to claim to know how to make the perfect COD game. I make YouTube videos and play video games, basically. But I will say, personality is such a big part of games. The gameplay shouldn't be too hard to make. It's zombies, it's round-based. I don't know how Vanguard screwed that up, but it did. But things like this are just what make it special. Sure, you could have your video game that is, let's say, ice cream. It's vanilla ice cream. It's basic, but it's good. You enjoy it. But what if you had sprinkles, whipped cream, a cherry on top, chocolate syrup? That's what all of this stuff is. I do really think this next COD Zombies game can succeed. They've got plenty of dev time, and they've even said they're ahead of schedule. Use this extra time to make the main menu feel atmospheric and personalized. Make the characters unique. Let me unlock stuff with the characters to progress further. Make each map feel unique with its own personality and its own atmosphere. If you do these things, even if everything else is garbage, it'll at least be a 5 out of 10 for me, because just that personality itself can elevate a game so much.